Hello, everyone. Welcome to Life Redefined Season 2, an online film discussion where we're sharing inspiring stories of young adult brain tumor survivors. Thank you for joining us today. This wonderful event has been generously sponsored by Selectpath, Professional Financial Services. Thank you, Selectpath, for making this happen. We appreciate the support. I'm Amanda Hutter, Support Services Specialist here at Brain Tumor Foundation of Canada. With me throughout the event is the multi-talented Dr. Mike Lang, researcher, film director, producer, and digital storytelling specialist. Our first guest to kick us off is Michaela Keech. Thank you so much, Michaela and Mike.
Yes, yeah, thanks, Amanda. Man, well, I am super excited to get to kick off season 2 with you guys and for you to see all the digital stories that we made in our workshop together. Because, I really believe that although facts bring us to knowledge, stories lead to wisdom. And when it comes to living well with, through, and beyond a brain tumor diagnosis, that's something that we really need, right? And so it's my hope that for all of you watching these stories, in the conversations that we get to have Michaela and the other storytellers, that you'll be able to pull out a piece of wisdom from each story that you can apply to your own life. And so to kick us off, Michaela, so excited. There's so many things I love about your story. The metaphor, the message you sort of develop, the images you use. But I don't want to give away too much. So let's just jump right in and watch it. And as we do, something that I want to encourage everyone who's watching and following along with us is to think about one thing that resonates with you in the story, and then write it in the comments below. Could be a word, a phrase, an image, or an idea, anything that comes to your mind, because when we sort of share what resonates with us in the story, we all get to learn from each other. And that's something we definitely all experienced in the digital storytelling workshop that we did together. And that's the goal of the Life Redefined series. So, okay, that's enough talking from us. Michaela, you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, great. Here we go. Michaela's story, everyone.
They say the most impactful life stressors one can experience include death of a loved one, divorce, major injury or illness, job loss, and moving. At 27 years old, I had 3 of these 5 thrown at me in only a few months. It all started the day I received news that I had a brain tumor. This was not supposed to happen to me. My life was just starting to get good. My brain surgery to remove the tumor was successful, only requiring a few days of hospitalization before being discharged home. The tumor was in my cerebellum, and I was like a baby deer learning how to walk again. Severe balance issues and symptoms of vertigo went unexplained, but I was determined not to let this get the best of me. I found out after my surgery that the tumor was non-cancerous, so naturally my family and friends rejoiced, and so did I. I felt lucky to be in this position, but I had lost the only life that I knew. I had to move home with my parents. I had to stop working. I could no longer drive. I was forced into a long-distance relationship. I was unable to do many of the things that brought me joy previous to surgery. I was in a dark place, not reaching the goals that I had set for myself. And it wasn't only my feelings. I also had to handle the feelings of those around me who only chose to focus on the positives. I was getting more irritable and more down about my situation by the day. I felt like I hit a plateau with my symptoms. My balance and coordination had improved, but I was still incredibly dependent on those around me. As part of my rehab, I was seeing a vestibular therapist, and although we had made initial progress, our time was coming to an end because I did not see the results I had envisioned. On the last day, I went to see my physiotherapist thinking it would just be like any other session. She sat me down, closed the door, and with kind eyes asked, "Are you okay? I know you are trying hard and physically you are improving, but I have noticed a change in you. You sound discouraged and lack the enthusiasm you used to bring to your sessions." At first, I didn't know what to say. I was used to presenting the version of post-tumor Michaela that I felt people expected, but I obviously wasn't hiding how I felt. I just started crying. We didn't do any exercises that session. I talked about how angry and how frustrated I felt. But it was nice just to talk to someone who wasn't a friend or family member. I didn't have to protect her from how I really felt. I remember saying, "This is so shitty," and she simply replied, "Yes, it is." Currently, I get a surveillance scan every 3 months to monitor the progression of my tumor. And for the past 8 months, I have been taking an antidepressant that has changed my life for the better. My therapist helped me understand that I am allowed to grieve the life I didn't have, but also encourage feelings of joy and gratitude. It has not been easy. I still live with my parents. I'm still in a long-distance relationship, and I still have fear of losing my job. So no, things haven't turned out exactly as I had planned, but I also feel lucky that I've had the support of my family. I have friends who listen to me, a partner who's been there when he could have easily left. Those are the things that I choose to focus on now, while acknowledging the things that I have lost. Creating space to help save my life and change my outlook. I hope it can change someone else's too.
There we go, Michaela's story. Man, like I said, there's so much that I want to talk about. But I think, one thing that really stands out to me in your story is the puzzle pieces, right? The metaphor that you developed there. And man, one of the great things about a story is that everyone can interpret it differently, right? Now, those puzzle pieces could mean many different things. But maybe I'll start by asking you, Michaela, what is the significance of the puzzle for you? I mean, there's many layers, but what is it for you?
I think initially when I saw the puzzle pieces and I saw these clips of me putting the puzzles together, I thought of it in a very superficial form. I just thought of it be used as a tool for me to use for physical rehab. But it was actually in working with you, Mike, that you helped me see that building a puzzle and, the puzzle pieces of your life falling apart, getting put back together. You helped me see that bigger meaning to that. And throughout my story, it made sense to me. It made sense to me to incorporate it. And that's how I really feel like I really put the pieces back together, not only physically to help out with things like my motor skills and my coordination, but emotionally and mentally as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, man, we got to talk more about that because, when you're a young adult and you're just literally building your life, and then I think it's such a great metaphor of everything collapsing apart, right? And then at the end, here you are practicing your physio, your fine motor skills, putting your puzzle piece back together, but it's got so many different layers to it. So I love that. I thought it was really profound the way that you put that together. So I want to bring in Amanda here, and just ask, yeah, Amanda, what was one thing that stood out to you as you were watching Michaela's story?
So one of the things that stood out to me is you mentioned antidepressants and how that helped you. And just want to say thank you for mentioning that, because I find it's still one of those topics that some people, like, it's mental health related, so let's not talk about it. But you mentioned it, and like, what was that experience like for you? Like, is it something that you were accepting of, or did it take some time?
Um, it wasn't something that I was accepting of. And I hate to say it, but I kind of fell into the stigma too. Because when I first started, experiencing such intense negativity and sadness in my life, I didn't even want to acknowledge it. I've always felt like such strong advocacy, like before this, in terms of mental health and supporting people. But again, when it came to myself, it's like I had a different set of rules, a different playbook. And I was almost hesitant to talk to people after I started the medication, like to disclose that to them. And I didn't, like, not in a pressure way, but it made me think, like, why am I anxious to say that I'm on an antidepressant? Because it's just another form of medication.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. You talking about creating space, right? That's the title of your story, right? And you're talking about how you've always been an advocate for mental health and things like that, right? And what's really cool about your story is, the title of your story is about creating space for yourself, right? To express those real how you were really feeling, and how that physiotherapist created space for you to be able to do that. But not only is your story about that, you also do that yourself. You have sort of created a space for other young adults to connect. So tell us a little bit more about that sort of aspect of your life now.
So I am part of and help facilitate the young adults brain tumor support group. And I don't, it's nice to connect with other young adults, other individuals who have such strong commonalities. And again, it creates space for you to complain about things, to rejoice in things that maybe not everyone gets. Um, it's been nice to explore that, and even have certain friendships build out of that, and make certain connections that I never would have had before without the foundation. I mean, the foundation of the foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it, but it's great because, how do we find these spaces, right? How do we create spaces? And it's cool. You saw that, you experienced that with your physiotherapist, and now you're doing that for others. I think it shows that the things that you have learned, right? And the way that you've changed over the course of this very difficult experience. And I always, it's always it makes me feel hopeful, for when I hear stories like yours, knowing that there's a lot of people who maybe are watching this who are in the early phases of their brain tumor experience, and now they have someone like Michaela saying, wow, if she became that person, maybe I can too, right? And it's something that we can all sort of hope for, right? Is that we will come through this and learn and grow and become a different person and like who we are today, right? So, and I see that in your story. I love it. Well, man, Michaela, thanks so much for kicking us off here. Such a meaningful story that's got lots of wonderful lessons for all of us. So everyone who's been watching, following along, please throw your ideas, your thoughts, your comments in the chat. We'll stick around for a little bit and respond and chat with you guys if you want. And then, of course, this will be posted so you can share it with friends and family afterwards as well. Please join us again every Tuesday and Thursday for the next 3 weeks, starting from today. There will be more stories shared, just like Michaela's, and hopefully more wonderful pieces of wisdom that we can all grab and take hold of and incorporate into our own lives. So awesome. Thanks for again, Michaela. And yeah, we'll see everyone else on Thursday.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Michaela.